All right, folks. Here we are. We are live on all platforms, I would hope. Yes, we are. We're good to go. All right, folks, welcome in. We've got a crazy day of football to recap here. Hopefully, y'all had a great day. Nice time watching. I had a lot of fun today and ready to talk about the implications of the week. Dynasty, redraft, all the great stuff. We are officially done with week 8. Well, not officially done. I guess you got Monday Night Football, but we are pretty close. We're pretty close right now, pretty close to done. Some absolute blockbuster performances, my lowest scoring performances of the season, ironically, across leagues. I do play in like over 20 leagues, but you know what? We had our first week without a 200-point performance. I feel upset about it, but I know beggars can't be choosers out here. Still won a lot of leagues. So I will say the most devastating occurrence of the day is I was up by about 5 points going into the very last drive of the Steelers game, and Aaron Rodgers throwing that garbage time touchdown took me to a 1-point loss. 1-point loss, almost went 7-1. Now I'm going to drop to 6-2. It's devastating. It is devastating. I'm not going to lie. It was quite the sad occurrence as I watched that win slip from my hands on a garbage time TD that was even reviewed. So, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? We tried, you know. What's up, man? Welcome. What happened to Ferg, man? Dude, that was a disappointing one. Same team I'm talking about here, where I lost by 1 point this week, was also because Jake Ferguson tossed up a deuce, just a 0, in this format. In every format. He didn't catch a pass. I didn't see it coming, especially on National Tight Ends Day. Like, what a sick joke. Tight end 1 overall in the season catches 0 touchdown, or like 0 passes, not even touchdown, just 0 passes on National Tight Ends Day. So, CMC for JSN and Breece Hall. Man, that's a tough one. I mean, if this is Dynasty, obviously, but I'm guessing you're asking for redraft. I'll probably take the package here, but this does seem a bit reactionary off the Breece Hall performance. Like, we do have to remember, guys, I'm actually going to tell you not to do this. And I think I'm going to tell you not to do this because I know Breece Hall looked amazing today, but, like, everybody looks amazing against the Cincinnati Bengals defense. Like, he's got to go play Cleveland and New England back-to-back after this. That's just, like, a lot harder of a schedule. I mean, his playoff schedule is pretty friendly. Jacksonville, New Orleans, New England, but I don't know if I love that, to be completely frank. Let's see. Highest ceiling, Hail Mary, JCM, Brashad Smith. I think you got to go JCM, man. I don't know. Like, I think Brashad Smith is not a bad player by any means. I just think, God, as a ultimate Hail Mary, like, I think you got to hope JCM has, like, a week 2 style performance where he puts up, 2+ touchdowns and just takes you home with the championship, or takes you home with the W. Jesus, what's up, man? Trade CMC. Oh, I did that one. Winky Dinks. What's up, man? I got Warren, a second and a third and a fourth for Scadaboo. That's okay. To be honest, like, I'm buying Scadaboo. I actually bought Scadaboo about 2 minutes before getting on this stream. So if you want to know what I paid for him, I'm happy to show you guys on the screen here. You can actually see. I think I can share it on my display. Let's see. Can I go to this one? Was it? Yeah. Trades. Review. Trade history. There you go. Completed. I guess you can see it right here. I traded Xavier Worthy and a third in 2027 for Mac Jones and Cam Scadaboo. And it happened about 2 minutes before I got on this stream with you guys. So if you're looking for what I paid for Cam Scadaboo in Dynasty, this is what I did pay for Cam Scadaboo in Dynasty just about 5 minutes before getting on this stream. So you say sorry for me? I don't think so, man. I think I'm happy with this trade. Like, I obviously know Cam Scadaboo is out for the season here, but, like, he was running back 8 overall before that happened. I think he's going to be a dog when he comes back. And, like, getting a top 10 running back for like a receiver like Worthy, who I like Worthy a lot, but on a team like the one I have, which I'll just show you guys so you can see. Obviously, I have an empty wide receiver spot here because I just shipped Worthy, but Purdy, Rashad White, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Waddle, Ted McMillan, Zach Ertz, Evan Ingram, DK Metcalf, Chris Olave. Played Mark Andrews this week because obviously Trevor Lawrence is on bye, but I still got Bucky and Ken Walker, Amon-Ra, Drake London. Like, I have receivers for days in this league. Like, when I'm healthy and not on bye, I'm starting Amon-Ra, Drake London, Olave, Metcalf, McMillan, and Waddle. And, like, Worthy was just camping out on the bench down there. I also have 2 26 firsts. So I'm going to go back to the well and reload a bit here. Don't worry, this is not a let's glaze my teams stream. It's just explaining why I made the move I did. I think, I assume obviously a decent amount of risk right here when I make this trade, but I think with a team build like the one I have, it's worth doing. It's just a little insight into my dynasty strategy here. Loki could have got something better than Scat. You really think so? I'm curious. What like... Okay, I give up Xavier Worthy in a third. Like, what do you think I'm buying? Like, what do you think that gets me? I'm curious what your guys' take is on that. Like, you think you think I'm getting like a Breece Hall? I don't think so, man. Worthy in a third is pretty value. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, like I've lost trades in my day. Not a lot, but I've lost trades. So we'll see how it ages, but could be wrong. Rod is in here. What's up, Rod? He's saying, do a trade JCM and Waddle for Jamar Chase, 12-man Superflex redraft. Yeah, I'll take Jamar Chase very comfortably here. You do have depth, though. No, I do, man. Like, I have 2 26 firsts, one of which is going to be a top 3 pick. This team's coming off a startup draft this offseason, so I was able to trade back a lot, accumulate a lot of firsts, and just kind of go for a deep build in a start 11 format. And, like, yeah, my quarterbacks aren't the best, right? Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence. But I will tell you comfortably, I have by far the deepest wide receiver room in the league. And, with Bucky and coming back and Jonathan Taylor, like, and still having Ken Walker underneath him there with my own handcuff, I just feel fine, like, waiting on Scat. Means next year, like, I can roll out Bucky, Jonathan Taylor, Scattaboo, and Ken Walker when he goes to sign somewhere else. So I just liked the build. Tyrone Tracy or Tez Johnson. Dude, to be frank, I'm not exactly sure what to expect out of this Giants team after losing Scat, because I do think he's an entirely different profile of a runner than Tracy is. Obviously, we know Tracy converted wide receiver, so definitely be more involved in the passing game and has some PPR upside, don't get me wrong. I think I'm going to go Tracy here, man. I'm going to go Tracy here. CMC, bro, JT, and Pittman might have saved me. Yeah, CMC, definitely a first down performance from CMC on the season here. Definitely probably hurt a lot of folks. I was, challenged by it in a few leagues this week, unfortunately. But, I think everyone's got a down day every once in a while. Man, I got someone in the chat saying I put up 225 tonight. That's fantastic. Congrats, man. That's awesome. All right, I've got Jose saying, I feel like Worthy is valuable because of his age as well. It makes it go up. No, I totally agree with you. To be honest, like, I say it all the time. Like, you guys that are in my streams often are probably, like, tired of hearing me talk like a broken record like this. But, like, it's two guys on Dynasty, like, retooling rosters that I buy a ton of across over 20 leagues. And it is Jordan Addison and Xavier Worthy. And, like, those are two guys I love to buy and stash. I'm really high on them as Dynasty build pieces. Just for where my team was at, I felt like I could sacrifice making the move. But I don't disagree with you. I think it's, I definitely paid up there. All right, Joseph's asking a good question here. I'm gonna dive into it for a second. He says, said, what's the scoring for your sleeper format? Yeah, man. So this is like one of my listener leagues. I obviously make them with you guys, spinned up out of the Discord. So if you're not already in the Discord, you want to play in a Dynasty League with me, we'll be rolling out plenty in the offseason. So just make sure you join the free Discord. Just send me a direct message right now that says Discord. I'll let you guys in, or you can just go join up through my website that's pinned on my profile. But this is my favorite format of Dynasty to play. It's a start 11, so it's a deep league. It's a super flex format, and my scoring format is kind of interesting. So we do a first down bonus for running backs, 0.25. That's it. Nothing crazy. I do add bonuses for 200-point games and 200 all-purpose yard games, whatever. But on top of that, it's a start 2 tight end premium 1.75, but it's a half point per tight end first down. And as you know, tight ends, their average depth of catch is about 8.5 yards. So I would say most times a tight end catch is going for a first down, meaning the tight end premium that looks like 1.75 is a hell of a lot closer to 2.25. And on top of that, you have to start 2 of them, right? So tight ends are extremely valuable in this format. And that's probably why, when you're looking at my scores for this, they probably look a little bit inflated compared to what you guys get on a weekly basis. It's just what I like to do to even out the positions and promote trading. And I do find that a lot of deals get done in my leagues. So that's what I like about Dynasty. I like trading. Flowshot saying, what's up, man? Good to see you. Douglas is over on YouTube saying, would you do Swift and Pickens for Ladd and Stevenson? Swift and Pickens, Ladd and Stevenson. Nah. Honestly, I'm probably just going to hold the George Pickens side here. I know the Cowboys have a little bit of a down day here. Don't get me wrong. But I think the difference I have between Swift and Stevenson is really the key here. It's not like I love either of them. Don't get me wrong. You're making me pick between 2 guys I don't really fancy, but at the same time, I do, I do think that there's a difference for sure. Asian Buffet down 5 with Rashee Rice left. What do you think? Do you think I win? Yeah, I think Rashee Rice will have more than 5 points, so I think you'll be all right. Ryan, what's up, man? He says, I have Mahomes and Worthy down 24.98. Do I win? That one I'd actually also be pretty confident in. You just need one Xavier Worthy catch that's 30 yards, and Mahomes, if he puts up a 17-point game, will get you there. Mahomes is quarterback 1 on the season? Or at least he was a week ago, so I think I'm good with that. All right. Let's see. What else do you guys want to talk about today? Anyone want to talk about the Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier situation this weekend? That was kind of an interesting one. Saquon Barkley explosion, James Cook explosion. Where we at, man? Where we at? What do you guys want to talk about? Oh, Joseph is saying he wants to talk about Bijan. Yeah, honestly, man, interesting game script, right? I thought he was going to get absolutely fed with Kirk Cousins playing. Doesn't really end up that way. Tough to see, but I'm not reading anything into that one crazy. I think the offense is different under Penix, obviously. Chase is here saying, I'm offering Marv T and Dak for Jamar and Baker. Am I lowballing too much? This isn't a deal I would take, but I don't think it's too much of a lowball. You are offering Dak, who's a top 5 quarterback this season in fantasy, and, giving him a bit more depth. I don't think it's a terrible offer. I think you win that trade, obviously, but I want you to win it, so I'm going to suggest you make it. All right, I got I have Cook, Kraft, and Hall. Man, you must have had a great week. Karan's in here saying Gadsden for Kraft, Otten, and Malik Washington. Oh, yeah, I'll take the Kraft side here. Give me Tucker Kraft every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I know Gadsden looks good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's actually an exciting prospect after what we've seen at him in the last couple of weeks. I wasn't totally sold on him, but he looks great. Outside of that, though, I think genuinely, guys, and I know this is going to sound so reactionary, and these get saved and put on YouTube, so I'm sure someone will come back a year from now and clown me for this, but I know he's been hurt, and I know the Raiders are grossly underperforming, but if I was doing a dynasty startup tomorrow, there's a decent chance I would take Tucker Kraft ahead of Brock Bowers. I know that is a wild statement to say, and I'm sure some sort of recency bias is involved there, but I don't think it's that far of a difference. I think, if I had to put it this way, do I think I still get Kraft at a lower level than Bowers and I probably get better value on the pick, I think, yeah. And so I think from a value perspective, like I'd rather wait half a round or a full round and get Tucker Kraft where I could take him than reach and take Brock Bowers, as high as he probably goes still. So I don't know. That's where I'm thinking on all things Dynasty right now. I got Juan in here saying, do you sell high on Breece Hall? I would, personally. Like, I think the reasoning behind this one is simply that I just don't trust the New York Jets at all, right? And nice for them to get their first win today. Nice for Breece Hall to come out and have his best game of the season by a country mile. He looks really good, averages over 7.5 yards a carry, comes up with a couple targets. I think, personally, I just don't expect the Jets to be putting up 39 points on offense probably ever again this season. What do they play? Miami? I guess they do. All right, fine. Maybe you get one more Breece Hall explosion game in Week 14, right? No, I would be selling Breece Hall. Yes, I would say this is your chance. In Dynasty, though, I'm holding him. Okay, I just do think that next offseason he's going to get a value spike when he signs a Kyron Williams type deal, 3 years, $11 million a year, somewhere that needs a workhorse back, and suddenly looks like he's got all the runway in the world ahead of him, right? So I think that's my thoughts on that one. All right, what else do I got here? I got Colton Gregg saying, what do I do with Courtland Sutton? Honestly, man, like, I don't know why you're panicking too much on Courtland Sutton here. Like, I know Troy Franklin had a great game. And that's the bigger takeaway, in my opinion. The storyline from this is just that you've now seen 3 separate occasions this season where Troy Franklin has looked like a very startable fantasy player, especially if you're talking about, like a deep format dynasty league, like the Start 11 league I was just showing you on the screen. Outside of that, though, like, I think Troy Franklin's a good stash. I still think Courtland Sutton, he was, wide receiver 12 going into this week, so he's going to drop a little bit, but he's giving you top 20 production. They've got some really nice matchups coming up here. I mean, Las Vegas looks good. Seattle Seahawks had no issue throwing on the Houston Texans. I know they were able to upset the Niners today, but Kansas City, they give up yards. Washington, they'll give up yards. They get Las Vegas twice. Green Bay is a bit of a tougher one, but Jacksonville gives up plenty of yards too to wide receivers. So I think you'll get some decent performances still from Sutton throughout the rest of the season here. Just joined in. Who could I get for Breece? Yeah, sure. I mean, if we're going to talk direct trades just for Breece Hall, I think you're probably looking at like the upside of a Michael Pittman. I think you could get a DK Metcalf plus maybe a little bit kicked back to you. Maybe DK Metcalf plus Zach Charbonnet. I'd be totally fine doing a deal like that. Someone that gives me some touchdown upside and, I think guys like DK's given you like very sneaky, valuable production this season just with the touchdown upside. Like, I think the frustrating thing with DK Metcalf right now is outside of the 1 week where he breaks off that, massive touchdown run, you're just not getting as much deep threat DK as I expected. I mean, you guys probably remember, as I do, being a diehard Seattle Seahawks fan here, like all the play action passes that Russ would get on the deep bomb to DK Metcalf, and you just don't see them using him the same way, taking the top off the defense this year. That all being said, like, he is being utilized in a different fashion where he's getting like 1 yard screens from the on the 1 yard line from Aaron Rodgers and getting touchdowns. So I think it's a mixed bag. V Lopez is saying, should I start Deebo Samuel? I mean, in a vacuum, yeah. I don't know what other options you probably have going into a Monday night game. If you want to give me something else to switch it with, I'll give you my opinions. iTaz Music over on the YouTube, thanks for coming through, man, says, would you do Stafford and Vidal for Herbert? My opponent lost Scadaboo. Yeah, I'd do that. Give me Justin Herbert here. Comfortable making this deal. Obviously, Vidal is just a rental here until Hampton's back in about a couple weeks, so I'm fine with it. What's up, Rigged Monkey? Thanks for coming in, man. Always good to see you. I've got Nihal saying, where do you have Tracy ranked rest of the season? Not high. I mean, I was never a huge Tyrone Tracy guy, even before the Scadaboo injury, to be frank, or even before the Scadaboo emergence. In fact, if you guys remember this offseason, I was pretty strong Tyrone Tracy seller. Now, I will admit, definitely is going to have some receiving back upside, and that's something I don't want to ignore in a PPR format if that's what you're playing in. But I'm probably putting Tracy as a fringe RB2, more of a flex play. I think some good comparisons is would I rather have Tracy or Jaylen Warren? I'm still going to lean Jaylen Warren. Would I rather have Tracy or Trey Benson? I'd probably still rather have Trey Benson. Would I rather have Tracy or Nick Chubb? That's probably actually a decent comparison. I'd rather have Tracy, so I'll give you that one. Maybe Tracy or Chuba Hubbard. I'd probably still lean Chuba, but it'd be pretty even, so. Thanks for the Daniel Jones suggestion. He's starting the rest of the season. Yeah, of course, man. Daniel Jones for sure starting the rest of the season. All right, I'm going to pin this up. Daniel Jones is going to get a good extension here, guys. Flowshot saying, you think the Seahawks have the best defense? I obviously got to pin some Seahawks questions, man. Any chance I get to talk about the Hawks, I'm going to do it. Yeah, dude, I don't know if they have the best defense in the league, but I would say they're easily a top 5 unit. I just am so excited what I'm seeing out of this defensive line and building the trenches here. Byron Murphy is having a fantastic season. Boye Mafe is quietly having a really good season, putting on a ton of pressures, and the sack numbers haven't been falling for him, but he is putting a ton of pressure on the passer. Outside of that, nice to see DeMarcus Lawrence get involved to some degree and finally see Uchenna Nwosu be healthy. I think a lot of people forget that Uchenna Nwosu is a very, very good pass rusher, a fantastic pass rusher. And he's just been so beaten down by injuries over the last year and a half. People forgot what kind of damage he did on the Chargers. And then in his first year in a Seahawks uniform before the injury, we extended him and gave him a pretty sizable extension. So like Flowshot saying, that D-line is tough. I think the craziest part about what's going on with the Seattle defense right now is just that, dude, they've been doing all this without their starting, secondary. Julian Love has been on and off, not playing 100% and either missing games or just not even on the field. He's one of the leaders of the defense and probably one of the best players on the defense. You got Devin Witherspoon, a top 5 draft pick, one of the best nickel corners in the league, barely been playing. He's missed several games. You got Nick Emanwari, who looks fantastic. And I know everyone out here is probably why are we talking about these guys? They're not fantasy players. Guys, Nick Emanwari is 21 years old. And, man, he has, a build, a Cam Chancellor build, but he's faster. And, I'm just telling you, not only is his, nickel potential crazy high, but he could be a fantastic safety, too, down the line. So, just a lot of stuff there. I've got Kevin asking, do you have JSN in fantasy? I do. I play in well over 20 leagues, most of them being Dynasty, and some of them even being contract salary cap leagues. I own Jackson Smith and Jigba in almost half of them. If you guys remember me from the offseason, kind of my claim to fame here, but I was telling you every single day of the entire offseason to buy Jackson Smith and Jigba, and obviously I primarily play Dynasty, so I'm definitely, more there, and he is wide receiver 1, and there's all the receipts there. So, you guys can go back and be he's saying that now because JSN's so good. No, definitely, go watch all my videos from March where I'm begging you to buy JSN. So, yeah, definitely a big JSN guy. I got this question in here saying Tyrone Tracy or Kenneth Walker rest of the season. Seahawks question, please pin. Well, you got me. You know how to get me to talk, guys. You know how to get me to talk. Yeah, no, I'm gonna sound like a homer here, but I'm still gonna take Kenny Walker. I obviously think that my opinions on Ken Walker have been something that I've been wrong about for sure this season. I did tell you guys all offseason also buy Ken Walker. I think he has top 6 running back potential if he can stay healthy. And guess what? He has stayed healthy. I think what I didn't foresee was just the lack of explosive run opportunities in this Clint Kubiak offense. And, like, Zach Charbonnet's getting the lion's share of the goal line touches, which obviously also is, like, limiting Ken Walker's upside. Now, I will say one thing to my deep cut players out there that actually understand football really well and can still have a lot of faith in Kenneth Walker for the rest of the season here, okay? And this is why, if you're one of the lucky few out there listening right now in between TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube, you're going to hear me say I'm still buying Ken Walker, especially from a dynasty perspective. And the main reason is Seattle Seahawks drafted a player named Robbie Oots in the 5th round this year. He's a fullback. And I know you're thinking, a fullback? Why does that matter? Well, he was one of the best blocking fullbacks in all of college football. And we reached and took him in the 5th round. He was projected to go undrafted. So, like, when we took him, people was like, why the hell would you do this? Well, if you guys know anything about Clint Kubiak, comes from the Shanahan tree, obviously, you know that he desperately wants to lead with a fullback blocker in his, like, more agile and zone scheme. Now, Robbie Oots went on the IR in week 2. And Ken Walker had a really good week against Pittsburgh week 2. And so, like, you have not seen the ability to play the style of running football that they want to play while Oots is out. Now, he went on IR in week 2. It is week 8. That's 6 weeks. He qualifies to be taken off the IR after the bye week here, meaning you could see a major shift in the way the Seattle Seahawks attack the run game. That is something that is extremely interesting for me from a Kenneth Walker purchasing perspective. And I know I'm like probably like ranting to you guys out there, and you're like, I don't give a shit about Ken Walker. Like, he's playing like ass for me. I'm just saying, if the Seattle Seahawks run game looks really different 4 weeks from now because of the return of Robbie Oots, like, please come back and comment on one of my videos and be like, hey, man, thanks for telling me to go buy Kenny Walker. Because I do still think that there's a lot of upside to be gotten there. I've got Rain over on the tube that's made for you saying, Rome Odunze for Rice in Dynasty, I'm contending, or is that too pricey? Appreciate you telling me Rome was going to be solid today. Got a nice 18.10 from him and secured the dub. Thank you for hopping back in. Great to see some folks following up and touting their victories. Like, here's what I'll say, man. This is a lateral move, in my opinion. Like, if I'm going to, like, redo my Dynasty offseason rankings next season, which I will as soon as the year is over, probably be Rome and Rice in, you know, within 2 to 3 players of each other, right? And who's going to be on top? I don't know yet, right? And so my personal opinion would be, I really like Rome's prospect better. I think Rice has the situation going for him really well as like a PPR monster attached to one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen and in an Andy Reid offense. Like, all those things scream success. What I see out of Rome Odunze, though, is just a far better wide receiver prospect. Like, he is just a smooth route runner, very knowledgeable, great at high pointing the catch. Like, if you remember what he was able to do in Washington and get up and come down with, like, incredibly well-contested catches, I think, like, that's something that's not as much in Rice's wheelhouse, where I'm going to lean Rome. And so I know that's probably not a popular take, and a lot of people would probably take Rashee Rice over Rome Odunze in Dynasty right now. And in fact, I'd like to just like get some feedback in the chat. Whatever platform you're listening in, if it's over on TikTok, or if you're on Twitch or the Tube, drop in the comments. Like, in Dynasty, if you play Dynasty, would you rather have Rome Odunze or Rashee Rice? Because I am going to hold Rome Odunze here, but I could understand that that's probably not the popular opinion. I am going to stand by it, though. Some folks over on TikTok, Ethan saying Rice. Valentine saying, I'm taking Rome solely from the situation. Rashee Rice, 100%. Rice. So, look, you know, like I said, it's probably not the popular opinion. I am going to tell you to keep Rome. You can trust me. You can go with the crowd. Again, like I said, I don't think it's a bad trade either way. Like, it's not like I'm going to look at the trade and be like, oh, this guy got fleeced. Like, again, it's going to be like a pretty similar like ranking by the end of the season, and I think I just prefer the younger prospect that I think is a better player. So that's the way I look at it. I'd be taking Rome Odunze here. Hater's gonna bake over on T-Witch. Thanks for coming through, man. He says, would you trade Brian Thomas Jr. for Judkins in redraft? In a heartbeat. Give me Quinn Sean every day of the week. I think you're just getting far more consistent production out of him, than you are out of Brian Thomas Jr. And like, that's not me saying I don't think Brian Thomas Jr. will put it together. I actually do think he will put it together here, whether it's on the Jags or not. But I think it'll be on the Jags. Like, knowing NFL teams, man, realistically, you understand how much you'd have to pay to pick up Brian Thomas Jr. Like I was saying on a podcast the other day, and on my radio show every Wednesday, 760 San Diego Sports Radio, if you guys want to catch me on there. I'm also streaming on the iHeartRadio app, and if you're not local to San Diego, would love to see you guys tune in for the show for my weekly fantasy roundup, and you can call in all your questions. We can talk on the radio together, because I know you're looking at me and you're saying, this guy is far too ugly for TV. He is made for the radio, and I am right there with you. I couldn't agree more. The radio hides my dumbass mullet, and, I can help provide you guys with plenty of on-air entertainment here. But, again, I do think that you're handsome, though, Chad. Oh, thanks. Hater's going to bake. Y'all far too kind out here as I cut my neck open on trying to shave today like a dumbass. Appreciate you. All right. You did say Free Laugh Entertainment says Breece Hall, Flowers, and Ayuk for Amon-Ra. Yeah, this is a lot of garbage for a lot of W's. Give me Amon-Ra here. Rain says super close. Completely agree. I don't think anyone loses the trade. Just basically preference. I think I'll stick with 23-year-old Rome attached to Caleb, who ain't bad. Yeah, I'm with you. So there you go, guys. Pretty even. That was awesome fun in the chat. So appreciate you guys contributing, getting in with me. If you guys want to hear me talk about other stuff too, I'd love to. Like, obviously I can do start sits all day, but it's nice to do some more conceptual questions here. Valentine's going, Pacheco or Brashad Smith Seahawks question, by the way. This is really funny. This is hilarious. You guys, Pacheco or Brashad Smith, nothing to do with the Seattle Seahawks, but you did get me just by typing it, so I'll talk about it. Honestly, man, at this point, like, I'm a dynasty guy. I'm going to talk dynasty. I am going to prefer Brashad Smith, just the age, the pass-catching upside, the lack of contract for Pacheco here. I don't see a world where they seem extremely motivated to pay him. So I'll take Smith from a dynasty perspective. And if we're talking redraft, to be completely frank, I just don't even want the headache of trying to pick. Is there any way you could just package the two together and go to some running back needy team or someone who's willing to take a risk on him and just try to get, a Zach Charbonnet, a Ken Walker, someone who's depleted, a Jalen Warren, something like that. Rain's over on YouTube saying, info aside, I truly appreciate how much help you put out. Best dynasty guy out there, best fantasy guy out there, period. Bro, I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I've been going live twice a day, every single day since June, trying to be as accessible as possible for you guys. I was on the private stream on my Discord yesterday for 11 hours and 50 minutes, just trying to break down people's teams and help everybody make trades and whatever. And so, yeah, just trying to help as many of you guys as I can, make a name for myself, and try to do something real cool here in the dynasty and, even redraft community. So thanks for the acknowledgement, Rain. Thanks for riding with me. Just appreciate you guys giving me a platform, man. So sorry, I'll go back to your questions now. I know you guys don't want to hear me talk about this, but I appreciate you guys for giving me a chance to don some fantasy knowledge on you. I got Blackhawk999 saying thoughts on Chase Brown. Yeah, nice to see what's happening to Chase Brown with Joe Flacco here, right? I mean, you're definitely getting a nice little boost in the Chase Brown stock after Flacco's been eaten all over the map, right? And sorry, I'm trying to pull this up, so I'm just going to pull it up here. I can do it this way. I'll just manually go. I mean, obviously, like, he finds himself in an incredible matchup this week against the New York Jets. And like I was saying earlier, like, anybody who's going to be playing Miami or the Jets is going to have some pretty inflated stats here. But, what is encouraging to see is just, he's starting to get, a lot more efficient usage with Flacco opening the field a bit by actually getting Chase and T. Higgins involved in the game script. And, that defense is awful still. So they're going to have to put up a hell of a lot of points. Like, I think the main thing I think about with Chase Brown, if you guys are like, oh, what's the takeaway from Chase Brown? The takeaway from Chase Brown is that if you are 5-2 or better right now, and you have guys on your bench that are giving you points that some other team could find use on, I would be going to buy Chase Brown and stashing him just to have for your playoff run, because like there's a couple guys out there that I love buying for the playoffs, and like Chase Brown and Alvin Kamara are like some of my top 2 flex guys for the playoffs. And as you're seeing on my screen here, you're getting Baltimore, who's been abysmal, week 15 in the first round. Second round of the playoffs to try to make the championship game, you get the Miami defense, like a running back's dream, okay? And in the fantasy championship, you're getting the Arizona Cardinals, who've looked honestly like a dumpster fire at times this season. So again, just as far as where I'm at with making trades, if I can afford to, I think Chase Brown's still a good buy. Now, unfortunately, definitely be a hell of a lot harder to buy him after you just bought, 27, or after you just put up 27 points. But I still think he's worth going out there because there's still a lot of people that are skittish still. I got Mega over on the Tube Made For You saying, I'm down to trade McMillan and Sharbs. Who should I ask for? Now, if you're talking about Tetairoa McMillan and Zach Charbonnet in Dynasty, I'm just going to tell you completely straight up, I'm not interested in moving either of these guys. I have my very specific reasons for that. One, I'm a big Tet guy. I think that, the lack of touchdown production out of him this year has probably kept his stats looking a lot more approachable than they should be. Even take today as an example against a pretty damn good Buffalo defense. He's got terrible Andy Dalton trying to get him the ball, and he puts up 10 targets, 7 receptions, 100 yards, and he's putting up numbers. He's putting up a ton of numbers. And, if any of these games, there was just one touchdown attached to him, this game would be 18. This game would be over 20. This game would be 15. This game would be 16. This game would be 20. This game would be 25. This game would be 13. And this game would be, 20, 22? 22, 23. So, I know these are big ifs, right? But, any of those would be fantastic performances from a 22-year-old rookie that's playing with, an awful quarterback situation. So, I still really like Tet. Now, I know you're saying redraft here, and so, I'm going to appease you and at least give you an answer, even though I don't love it. I think if you could put Tet and Charbonnet together and work your way up to buy, potentially, a JSN, which I doubt you get done. Maybe buy a Justin Jefferson because people have really been skittish on him this year with the quarterback play over there. I've seen him go for crazy values, a lot less than you'd expect. I think outside of that, if you could go out, there's a lot of guys on bye this week, but if you could go out and get a Courtland Sutton who just has a down week plus a little kickback, like a Courtland Sutton and a JCM maybe, because JCM's value's fallen so much, somebody that might still have upside for the season. Yeah, those are things I would explore. Maybe even a Rico Dowdle, just a little bit of depth, in case Chuba gets hurt or something. I think those would provide you with a couple options, but to be frank, man, I don't know exactly if you're making a bunch of great wide receiver tier-ups. Now, if we're going to look in the running back department, I'd love to buy Achane. I don't think that happens, but I'd love to. If you could buy, Josh Jacobs on a down week again here, I love doing that. Obviously he still finds his way to the end zone here, but far depleted from the last few weeks of 2 33-point performances in a row, right? So I think a Josh Jacobs would be the happy medium there. All right. I'm going to try to pull as many comments as I can here. Guys, if you're watching over on TikTok, do me a favor and drop a follow so that I can pin your comments here. Makes my chat a hell of a lot more readable. If you're over on the Tube or on the T-Witch, following over there, subscribing there is great too. Appreciate you guys. Maybe drop a like on the live. Again, second live of the day, every single day since June. Appreciate you guys. Been grinding hard out here for you guys, and hopefully helping some folks win some championships this season. So, again, Nathan out here saying, I just traded Rashee Rice and Rachaad White for Jahmyr Gibbs and Michael Pittman in a redraft. Thoughts? Rashee Rice and Rachaad White for Gibbs and Pittman. Yeah, I like this trade. I like this trade a lot, honestly. I think Pittman and Rashee Rice are probably, there's a gap. I think Rice will outscore him, but for the rest of the season, but not by a whole lot. And I think on top of that, you got a massive upgrade, obviously, in the running back department. You went from a backup in Rachaad White, who's getting spot starts, to Jahmyr Gibbs, top 10 overall. So, let's see. I've got Chase in here saying, worried about Baker and Ibuka. No. I mean, look, I'll say this. I did tell everybody, and I hate to be like the guy being like, oh, I'm taking a huge victory lap out here. I did tell a lot of folks, you should sell Emeka Ibuka. Like, right after the Seattle Seahawks 31-point game, that was the time to be selling Ibuka. And it's not that I don't think he's fantastic. I just think that, like, this stretch of games was extremely lucky. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but, like, extremely lucky. Like, if you had been in my lives often, you remember me coming in here and saying, okay, 2 touchdowns on 4 catches. That's not going to happen again. 1 touchdown on 4 catches. That's not going to happen again. And then it did, because you had a week go by where he stays out of the end zone, but he puts up, more catches than before with 6. But then you go 4 catches again, and there's a touchdown. 7 catches and another touchdown. And all these things are looking like what Tet was missing, right? Like, and I'm going to be completely frank with you guys, and I was saying it all season, even through the beginning here when Ibuka was eating, and I stand by this. I still would rather have Tetairoa McMillan than Emeka Ibuka. And it's not because I don't think Ibuka is very talented. I am telling you that Tet's numbers are genuinely better minus the touchdowns. And I know that everyone's going to be like, yeah, but you're just saying, yeah, but he did get touchdowns. You can't take the touchdowns out. I can, because the touchdowns are going to be the most unpredictable statistic in fantasy football. Like, touchdowns are not guaranteed. And that's what you're seeing in the last 3 weeks. No touchdown, no touchdown, no touchdown, no double-digit finishes, right? And there's all the runway in the world for him right now. So, Ted over Ibuka in Dynasty, by a mile. By a mile. Like, dude, this is what I was saying. If you're a Ibuka owner, and I am telling you, I didn't own any shares. I didn't own a single share across over 20 leagues, or else I would have been doing this. But I told maybe 15 people in my Discord, in my Dynasty Trade Center, over like this period of the first 6 weeks of the season, if you can go get Tet in a first for Ibuka in a second, you do it right now. Right now. And like, I guarantee you the amount of those trades that got done in the first couple of weeks were a massive amount. And if you did that deal, you are going to be so happy in a year. You printed an extra free first, and I do genuinely believe that you are getting an upgrade. So, like, if you're asking me for my Dynasty opinions here, which, only half of you are, that's where I'm at with it for sure. Like, if you could still get that deal done, if you still think you could get that deal done, you go Ibuka in a second for Tet in a first. I'd do it every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Like, comfortably. All right. Guys, I have trying to juggle the chats across all the platforms. If you're listening over on TikTok, guys, and you're not already a follower, please drop a follow so I can pin your comments up and make my chat a bit more readable. Trying to juggle you guys over with the Tube and with the T-Witch. I do want to try to get all the questions I can answered out here, or at least try to talk to some folks. Nathan, I pinned your comment here. I liked this trade a lot. I said that's a great trade for you here. Okay. We did Stiffy over here. He says, I'm down 10. I have Rashi Rice, and he has Butker. Am I going to get the W? I would hope so. Broderick saying, do I also have redraft leagues? I do. I just don't really pay that much attention to them, to be completely frank. Like, when you play in over 20 dynasty leagues, you're just, like, way too locked in. But luckily, like, yeah, I play in enough redraft leagues, also in a few best ball leagues with, like, high school mates and stuff that I still keep in touch with, that, like, I'm very, in the know about redraft. I just think that, like, that dynasty is far more exciting and a lot more fun. So I do redrafts. You know what I'm doing this year, which I really like, and I promise this isn't like paid programming or anything. I am doing the chopped leagues on Sleeper. It's kind of like a guillotine league. I don't know if you're in a chopped league right now and you're in the chat, like somebody chime in. Like, chopped leagues are super fun, man. Basically, like, you start with 18 teams, and since it's 18 weeks, you get $1,000 waiver wire budget, and like you draft your team just like normal, but each week the lowest scoring team just gets cut, like chopped. They just get cut from the league, and all their players just like are cast back into the waiver wire, and then you've got that $1,000 budget to spend on them. I'm having a blast with the chopped league. Like, I think it's super fun. So all right, Hotch is asking a follow-up question on the Tet Ibuka thing, so I'm going to talk about it again for a second. And then TED over on Twitch, I see your question. Rain, I see your question. I am absolutely going to get to you guys in just a moment. Just let me ramble for a second on this because I am passionate about it, obviously, as you guys can already tell. Okay, so he's asking, based off if you guys are new in the chat right now, I was saying Dynasty, like, I am comfortably taking Tedero McMillan still over Ibuka, and I know that that's definitely not a popular opinion. But a bunch of trades that I suggested folks do in my Discord in the Dynasty Trade Center through the whole first 6 weeks of football was trade Ibuka in a second for Tet in a first. And I know people are like, that's crazy. Why would you do that? The real reason I would do it is because, one, Tet, his metrics are better. His volume is better. It's more repeatable. And I think that they are just, over a period of their NFL career, Tet's athletic prospect profile excites me more for his ceiling. Now, all of that, like considered, Ibuka was wildly inflated at the beginning of the season based off his touchdown metrics, and touchdown metrics are one of the most improbable and impossible things to predict in fantasy football. So you're saying, okay, well, don't you think Ibuka does take over the Mike Evans role completely? Yeah, to some degree. And I know, look, like, everyone out there is right now is saying, probably in the back of their minds, dude, Chris Godwin is washed. Like, he will never get back to where he was. I disagree. Like, yes, I don't think he'll get back to where he was. But they signed him to a 3-year extension. When he got hurt last year before a major injury, he was wide receiver 2 overall. And it's not like he was wide receiver 2 overall in week 3. It was week 8. He was a very productive wide receiver, and he still can be. And since Ibuka is playing well on the outside, there's no reason they wouldn't just put Godwin back into the slot next season when he's still only 29, 30 years old, get 2 more really good years out of him in the slot. And then what Boole is in here saying that is extremely relevant is Jalen McMillan, man. And, like, I know a bunch of you out there are going to be like, Jalen McMillan's a nothing. Jalen McMillan was on a national championship contending University of Washington team that went in the 3rd round of the draft, that has a ton of upside, that is a very good player, and has been on IR all season. And, like, if you don't think that Jalen McMillan even eats slightly into Ibuka's workload, you're wrong. He is a good player. And Baker Mayfield is not scared at all to spread the ball around, okay? So, like, I'm just saying, if you can still tier up, like, from Emeka Ibuka to Tedero McMillan, but get a pick swap in between and still get a first. Get like Ibuka in a second for Tet in a first. That is a deal I'm doing. I'm just saying. Rachel's in the chat. Hey, Rachel, you must be awake. I love you, babe. Thanks for hopping in and supporting. Appreciate you. I've got Steven in here saying advice to someone who wants to work in sports. I don't know if that's a question for me, or if you're asking if I want to work in sports. I do want to work in sports. I would love to, work for an NFL franchise somewhere down the line. That would be, a potential dream of mine, right? Like, or work in some sort of broadcasting capacity or something like that. However, I, just started doing this in March of last year. Or of this year, of 2025. I would say if you're trying to get anywhere right now, it's cliche, but put yourself online. Like, I really didn't want to do it. I was embarrassed to do it, and I didn't want to, like, show my face and show my opinions and whatever. And here we are. And, like, I've been doing this for a little over 5 months, I guess, now, and I have a radio segment every Wednesday on San Diego Sports Radio, and I'm starting to grow a great community with you guys out here and whatever. And so, like, I think, like, I've not made it by any means necessary. And, like, this is not enough to be, a complete full-time career right now. But this is just, like, what I'm doing as best I can to make the transition into working in sports full time in whatever capacity that might be. And if I can grow this big enough to where someday it supports me fully, that'd be fantastic. And if it opens a door to, working for an NFL franchise or talking, ball in some capacity across different platforms, like, I would do that too. So, Steven, I appreciate you asking, and like, And yeah, and he says, did you start with this setup? I'm going to start with basketball, but I admire the passion and grind. No, I appreciate you, Steven. I mean, yeah, man, like, honestly, all it comes down to, guys, and, like, hopefully my loving girlfriend who's so supportive in the chat right now will attest to this. I'm live every single day, like, every single day. And I make, 2 to 3 videos a day, every single day. And I'm on every platform you can imagine, and I grind, and I don't miss days, and I am in the Discord till 3 a.m. some nights, answering questions and trying to get things ready. And so, like, yeah, no, it's a grind. Like, but if you're consistent and you're willing to put in the work, like, you will see gains. You will see gains. Like, I had 0 followers in March. I have almost I have a little over 7,000 now. So, like, not that really converts to a whole lot, but I appreciate you guys giving me a platform, and I feel like we're building something cool. I'm sorry, to answer the last part of your question, did I start with this setup? Absolutely not. At myself with no microphone, no lighting, no cameras, and I just talked in front of the green screen filter on TikTok. That's it. And so, like, that's how I started, and I still do that for a lot of my videos. And yeah, over the last few months, I've, got a camera and I got a mic, and I made a nicer backdrop here, even though it's not the nicest in the world. And, like, there you go. Oh, Nico, yo, I was talking to you on the roof earlier. What's up, man? Welcome in. Good to see you, bro. Yes, you were. Talking to some of the college folks that live next door to me reminds me of a great time out here, So, but yeah. All right, I did hit the 45 minutes. My girlfriend is friendly reminding me here. I'm going to go and get a couple of your guys' questions in here because I know I've been talking about myself here for a bit, and probably like, this guy's annoying as shit. So let me get a couple questions in here, and then, guys, I am going to hop off. It's almost midnight on a Sunday here. I will be live again tomorrow in the morning and in the evening again after Monday Night Football for my full weekly recap. So appreciate you guys hopping in and being supportive here. And I'll get a couple more questions in, and then I'll hop on off, and I'll see you tomorrow. So make sure you're following, man. If you guys aren't already, if you want to join the Discord, join the Discord. And yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get a couple questions, and then I got you guys. Rain says, appreciate you, man. I'll be here consistently. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right, let me get through a couple of these. Rain, you're the best. Should I pair up Ibuka and Nix for Tet and May in Dynasty Superflex? That's a smash accept in my book. Like, I have May significantly above Bo Nix. Okay. Again, guys, if you're one of the 75 on TikTok here, I'm going to hop to the TikTok chat in a second. Make sure you're following so I can pin your comments and just make my chat a bit more readable and get through some of these. And then I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? I've got iFrost saying I have a top waiver wire priority, Tracy or Henderson. I'm going to go Tracy. I just think, at least where you are right now, like, do I think Travion Henderson's far more talented? Absolutely. Do I trust Mike Vrabel to use him the way I would use him? No, I don't. So that's the annoying part, right? I've got Rain. Appreciate you, man, but I hope you're able to pull off this Tet and May deal. Please follow up with me if you do. iFrost, hopefully I got your question, man. Appreciate you following along on the T-Witch. All right, hopping over to TikTok. I'll get through a few of these, and then I'm gonna bounce here, and I'll get the rest of y'all tomorrow. All right. Trade Higgins and Addison for Nico. This one I'm actually probably gonna say no. Like, if this is Dynasty, I'll do it. If it's redraft, I'm probably going to hold the package here. I love what I'm seeing out of Jordan Addison. I got Jacob saying I need 19.2 points to win this week. Who do I start, Debo or Worthy? I don't see Worthy going for this unless he breaks a massive touchdown off. Let's go, Debo. I don't love it, but let's go, Debo. All right, Flow Shot says, is it time to drop JCM, drop him for Tyrone Tracy? Look, I don't drop potentially starting running backs, even though they haven't been looking the best. So if you're going to liquidate them, let's do a 2-for-1 and try to tier up. Take JCM, take a player like I was mentioning before, like take JCM and Stephon Diggs and go see if you can get DK Metcalf, right? Like, at least you got a little bit of an upgrade and you still liquidated the roster spot. Go pick up Tracy anyway. That's what I do. How do I feel about Fields and Dynasty now? I have zero change in my opinion on Justin Fields. I've never been a Justin Fields guy. I will never be a Justin Fields guy. I'm sorry to bust everybody's bubble there. You might have one final chance now to sell him, and if you don't take it, good fucking luck. I've been telling you for a long time, and that's the way I look at it. Traden is saying good time to sell Chase Brown. It is a good time to sell Chase Brown if you are in Dynasty and you're retooling or rebuilding it all and you don't want to hold the risk. I would be moving him to a contender. Now, if you're in redraft and, like I was mentioning earlier, you are 5-2 or better going into this week, then I still believe Chase Brown is a good buy because some people are still going to be skittish about him and he's not going to give you the best performances every week. But when we talk about playoff schedules and flex upside, we've got Baltimore, Miami, Arizona. That's about as good as it gets outside of Alvin Kamara for a running back playoff schedule, and I think that that's a good option. All right. E63 is saying, do you think Tracy's worth a top waiver wire priority? Yes, I do. I think, again, you sit all year and you go, what do I use my waiver wire on? You're hoping you get a starting running back or a starting wide receiver. Probably running back, and you're going to get a starting running back. I would say if you're waiting any longer, you're probably just, being too greedy. ZXXTD saying, panicking about Scadaboo right now. Is there any way I could get JCM for McMillan or Devonta? Yeah, it's a bummer about Scat for sure. I actually just made a Dynasty trade for him about 5 minutes before hopping onto the live here. I gave up Xavier Worthy in a third for Scadaboo and Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones will be a starter somewhere next year, so I kind of like that as a long-term Superflex investment. I think I just got him on the low. I think he might have a Sam Darnold-style trajectory here where, he finds a lot of Dynasty Superflex value later on in his career. So take some of that knowledge to the bank if it helps you guys and you're on a retooling or rebuilding Dynasty roster. Go send a third or a fourth for Mac Jones. So could pay off for you here. Could be a nice profit flip. But is there any way I could get JCM for McMillan or Devonta? You could get JCM for sure for either of those guys. I wouldn't want to. If you're going to trade Devonta Smith after the week he just had, I would actually genuinely contest that you should be able to go get a Chase Brown, a Jalen Warren, maybe even more. So that's kind of the way I look at it. All right, guys, I did say I was going to hop off here, and I already went longer than I wanted to. So I appreciate you guys. Another live hour session here, 2 hours earlier today. We're always out here trying to grind for you guys. I will see you again tomorrow. We're going to do a full week breakdown in the morning. We're going to do another one in the evening. If you guys are not already following across all the platforms you're watching me on right now, whether it's Twitch, whether it's Tube, whether it's TikTok, a quick follow would mean the world to me. Greatly appreciate it. You guys are awesome for your support. If you don't already catch me every Wednesday on San Diego Sports 760, if you're local to San Diego, tune on your radio. If you're not, go ahead and hop on over to the Discord. That's totally free on my website, and you can catch the stream through the iHeartRadio app. Even if you're not local to San Diego, would love to see some support for the radio gig out there. Radio over TV, the cool guys are on the radio. Barcode, appreciate you coming through, man. Amazing night, amazing stream. Thank you. You guys are great. Everybody out there, be safe. Treat each other with respect. Let's win a hell of a lot of championships. I'll see you in the Discord. If you're not already there, send me a direct message right now that says Discord, or join through the website that's pinned on my profile, dynastypricecheck.com. The rest of y'all, see you tomorrow. Have a great night.